Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
All right. Hello, my friends. How are you today? Hopefully you're having a great day, a great week. Maybe you have a great weekend planned. That'd be great as well. A lot of greats going on. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I am Robert A. Lane, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm an audiobook coach and producer, and I specialize in helping authors. If you are, that's great. Nonfiction authors, especially, turning your book into an audiobook that you narrate in your own voice. That's what I do, and I love doing it. And today we're going to talk about the recipe for audiobook greatness. What does it take to create a great audiobook? What's the recipe, right? You are a cook. You are a chef. You are a chef creating this wonderful product, right? This wonderful product in your own voice, telling your story, sharing your story, and expressing it in the way that you want it to be expressed, in your own voice, in your own unique style. And that's what being a great cook is, right? That's why there is a recipe. And we're going to share with you some of the practical tools that you need to create a great audiobook, as well as some of the other little nuances that make it unique to you. So what is the recipe for audiobook greatness? Let's dive right in. Okay, so there is one core ingredient that you need for your audiobook recipe to create a great audiobook. And that core ingredient is always being tapped in to your why, your purpose, the reason why you wrote your book in the first place. Always be tapped in that core reason. I mean, there is obviously a reason why you wrote your book in the first place. Whether you did a memoir, maybe you shared a story, a personal experience, maybe it was a traumatic experience. Maybe you had a really traumatic time and lived in a toxic family relationship growing up. That is an incredible story that a lot of people can relate to. Or maybe you have something really exciting to share or knowledge to share, especially if you're a coach. If you are maybe an entrepreneur, maybe you talk about finances or career coaching and how to climb the corporate ladder. Or maybe you have maybe you have expertise as a relationship coach or a financial coach, whatever it is. You have something to share, and it's unique to you because of the way you tell your story, the way you give your information is part of who you are and what your author brand is. And again, what's so important is your core ingredient. And that is always being tapped to that reason of why you created and wrote this book and why you were so compelled to publish this book in the first place. Why? What is that why? Always be tapped into that core purpose, because that is, again, one of the secret ingredients. Well, it's not really a secret, but it is a very crucial part of creating audiobook greatness. All right. Now, there are other practical tools, just like when you're cooking in the kitchen, you need tools, right? You need your cooking utensils. Well, what are our cooking utensils for doing a great audiobook? Those utensils include a great microphone, not something cheap, but a good microphone. You want to use great quality product. Just like in the kitchen, you don't want to use some cheap utensils. You want to use the good stuff because you're creating something really wonderful that you want people to enjoy, just like with your audiobook. So make sure your audiobook kitchen tools are really good, all right, or are very high quality. So when you're deciding on a microphone, make sure you pick something that is very high quality because you want it to be the best representation of who you are as an author, and having quality equipment is going to result, of course, in quality product. The same thing applies to your other kitchen tool, which is your headphones. Really important to have some really good headphones because you want to hear yourself accurately. You don't want to have headphones that are like really bass heavy or something that's really sounding thin and too much treble. You want it accurate. So it's good to find some professional headphones that sound accurate, that aren't going to color the sound in a way, because when you're recording, if it's sounding some way and you think you're sounding a certain way, and then when you play it back, you're like, wow, it didn't sound like that at all. That's going to throw you off, right? You want to make sure that what you're doing is accurate, and you want your sound to sound accurate. What you're hearing needs to be accurate to when you play it back, you're going to hear exactly what you heard in your headphones when you were recording. So that's why having important and quality product in regards to your tools, your audiobook kitchen tools is essential. You got to have that, all right? So make sure that, again, get a good mic, get great headphones. The next really important kitchen tool for your audiobook is your recording space. And I really do. I highly recommend, excuse me, I highly recommend that you record this in your own recording space, because you can record your own audiobook in your own space, but you need to find a space that works well. So what are some of the key components of this particular recipe ingredient of your audiobook space? Well, first of all, it has to be comfortable. You have to feel comfortable and relaxed in the space that you're going to be recording in. And maybe you have an office, maybe it's in your bedroom, maybe I have some clients who set up their audiobook recording space in their walk-in closet, because all that close and it absorbs sound and it's really nice and soundproof and sounds really good. So that works. But the important factor is that you need to feel comfortable. You need to feel relaxed. You need to put yourself in a space that is comfortable and that you can do your best delivery, and there's nothing that's distracting, or again, if you're not feeling quite right, if you don't feel quite right, that's going to come through in your narration. So you got to make sure that it's comfortable. Now, another aspect of that is you have to make sure that your audiobook recording space is a good space. Is it a big room? Do you have wood floors and it's very echoey and bright? That may not be the most ideal place to set up your audiobook recording space. When you're recording, you don't want to sound like you're in a bathroom, right? You don't want to sound like you're in a big cathedral, because that's not going to sound so good for the listener. And always keeping in mind, which is an important part of the recipe, is always keeping in mind, what is it for the listener? What is the experience that they are getting when they listen to your audiobook? And keeping that in mind, thinking about what is the listener going to hear and how are they going to enjoy it, and how are they going to stay engaged and compelled in the story that you're telling. If the space you're in sounds real echoey and there's a lot of ambient sound, that becomes distracting, and that'll take away from the actual content of the story that you're trying to narrate in your audiobook. So make sure that whatever space that you set up in is comfortable and that it sounds good, because you need to be aware of your surroundings, of course, and that is a key factor. So when you are cooking up that audiobook, right, record a sample. Listen to it, play it back, see how it sounds. Does it sound too echoey? Well, make an adjustment. Maybe try a different space. Or are you too close or too far away from the microphone? You'll know once you play that back. And find your groove, right? Find that perfect placement. The recording space is great. Awesome. My mic placement is great. Perfect. And lock that in. All right. The great thing about recording your audiobook in your own space is the fact that, well, first of all, you can record it on your own timeline. And that's really, really important, because you don't want to have the pressure of, well, let's say you find a studio, right? So you go to the studio and you're ready to record and you're doing your thing. And maybe it's an off day. Maybe you're just not in the right mindset. Or maybe your voice isn't feeling as strong. Or you're making a lot of mistakes. Sometimes, again, we're thinking about other things and we're not in the present moment. And that does have an effect on how you deliver your audiobook when you're narrating. If you go into a recording studio and it's an off day, and maybe you had planned to record, let's say 3 chapters, and you're still on chapter 1, you're just starting chapter 2, and the time that you reserved, maybe you reserved 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours at a recording studio, hey, when your time's done, your time's done, whether whether you accomplished what you set out to accomplish or not. That's a pressure. That is something that may be gnawing in the back of your head, because when you're looking at the clock and you're like, oh man, I only have 20 minutes to finish this chapter and I got, several pages to get through. How am I going to do this? That creates a lot of pressure and that will affect your delivery. What happens, of course, is that maybe you'll start to rush through the delivery and you're not narrating it at a pace that you would normally narrate it, because you're thinking, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. Well, that doesn't make for a good audiobook narration. So you don't want that pressure. So again, the beauty of setting up your own recording space is, man, you're in control. You're in control of when you want to record. Now, on the flip side of that, and this is a very important part of the recipe of audiobook greatness, is accountability. Because you have to hold yourself accountable to make sure that you reserve a specific time every day and say, this is the time I'm going to go in. And also realize what the best time of day is, that your voice sounds good, that you feel good, that your body feels good, that you're energetic. Maybe it's in the morning. If morning time is the best time for you and you know your voice sounds great, then schedule time. Book out time for yourself. Put it on your calendar, from maybe from 7 to 9 in the morning. I know my voice sounds great. I'm ready to go. That's how I want to start my day. I'm going to spend these 2 hours working on my audiobook. Or maybe evening time is best. You got everything that you needed to do out of the way. And now you're ready to record your audiobook. You still feel good. You feel energetic. Your voice sounds good. Everything's warmed up. Your body's warmed up. Things are really great. So maybe from 5 to 7 p.m. is a great time for you. Or maybe even later at night. Some people are night owls. I've had clients who've gone through my audiobook coaching program who say, yeah, I record from like 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. because it's quiet. I can do my thing. I feel relaxed. My voice sounds good, and it works for them. So again, whatever works for you is really important. So be accountable. Accountability is key. Schedule time for yourself, put it on your calendar and say, okay, this is the time that I'm going to record, because that is an integral part of the recipe, of the ingredients that it takes to narrate an awesome audiobook. One other thing to think about, and this is an important part of the recipe for audiobook greatness, is you have a plan. All right, you already have a plan. In other words, what is your marketing strategy? What is it that you want to do? Where do you want to be distributed for your audiobook? How are you going to promote your audiobook? What are you going to use your audiobook for in regards to marketing? I have a client who uses her audiobook as a calling card. She uses that as she sends it out to community groups and other centers that she wants to do speaking engagements at. So she lets people listen to her audiobook, or even sends them a little sample and just say, look, this is what I sound like. This is what I talk about. This is what I want to share with your organization. Here's my audiobook. And sometimes she'll just give them a free copy of her audiobook. And I think that's brilliant. It's a great marketing strategy. So again, a good thing before you even start recording is have a plan. So again, your core ingredient is always being tapped into your why. The second thing is make sure you have great tools. All right, you got your microphone, you got your headphones, you have a recording program that's not your phone. Okay, get something that's decent that you can record on your computer. With my clients, I have them use Audacity because it's an easy program that they can record and then output. Even if you have QuickTime on your computer, as long as you can connect your microphone, which is a good professional microphone, and really good headphones, and you can record, then if that works, that's good. That's what you need to do. But you don't want to cut corners, because cutting corners is not good. Would you do that if you were cooking? Right? You are an audiobook chef. And if you're in the audiobook kitchen, would you cut corners? No, of course not. It's just like cooking. Would you forget to put in the yeast and the bread doesn't rise because you cut corners because you didn't want to put that in there? Well, your bread's not going to taste very good unless you like, hardtack. And you can eat that, if you can bite through it. So you don't want to cut corners. All right, that's an important thing to remember when you're recording your audiobook. Never cut corners. Never cut corners with your author brand, really. Because That's your brand. That's who you are. Your brand is what represents you. And your products have to be top quality, and you don't want to cut corners on your product. Did you cut corners when you wrote your book? Probably not. I'm sure you didn't. So when you published your book, whether it was an ebook or a paperback or hardcover, you didn't cut corners, and you shouldn't, right? Because when you publish your book, you want it to be just as quality as whether you self-publish and you put that self-published book next to a traditional publisher, and you can't tell who is who, which book is which book, because the cover looks great, the back cover looks great, the book looks great, it was formatted, it looks just as professional, and that's great. That's where you need to be, and that's why you don't skimp on quality, because you want to make sure that you have the best product out there. All right. We're going to dive into more of the recipe for creating audiobook greatness in just a bit. We have to take a quick break. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away. More tidbits of ingredients coming your way.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back. We're here with the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. Thank you so much for joining. By the way, if you are interested in what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, you can always go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com. All the information is up there about what I do and the program that I teach in helping authors narrate their own audiobook. It's a 6-week program. That's right. You can record, narrate, and be published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple by the end of the 6-week program. That's what I designed it for, because it is possible. And yes, you can do it in your own voice. And that's the key. I'm a big advocate of all nonfiction authors need to narrate their own audiobook, because it's your story. Nobody on this planet can tell your story better than you, because you lived it, you experienced it. It's in your words, in your book, and you're just bringing those words to life with your own voice. Now, of course, we're talking about the recipe for audiobook greatness. Before we do, I don't want to forget this, because I do have a free gift that I want to give you, and that is an audiobook narration reference guide. And a lot of the things that I talk about on this podcast is in that guide. So pick yourself up a copy of that. It's a free guide, and you can either go to the website to grab it's right there on the homepage, or you can grab it via the link that's on this graphic on the screen if you're seeing the video portion of the podcast. If not, if you're listening to the audio version, the link it's a bit.ly link. So it's bit.ly/narration reference guide. bit.ly/narration reference guide. Pick yourself up a copy of that. It's a free gift, my free gift to you, because I want you to be able to do the best narration possible. And you will. And you will. So we're talking about recipe. We're cooking up in the audiobook kitchen, right? We got a great recipe for audiobook greatness. And we talked about the tools, right? The audiobook kitchen tools that you need to create a great audiobook. So let's focus on flavor, right? A great cook has flavor. And you see people who follow a cookbook, and that's great. But you know what? Other people who want to try something new and want to put their own spin, their own taste on this wonderful meal or dessert or whatever that you're cooking up, they put their own flavor into it. And when you're recording your own audiobook, you are bringing your unique style. That's your flavor. So what is your flavor? It's your personality, it's your emotion, it's your energy, it's all those things. And what does that encompass? Your author brand. Because everything that encompasses who you are is your author brand. That really is the definition of your author brand, who you are. And that includes not only your personality and your emotion and all those things, but it also includes your belief systems, your habits, your upbringing, how you were brought up. That does have an effect on who you are and the person that you are, and that is part of your author brand. And that's all great. You want to have all these things. And especially the key ingredient, as we talk about recipe, the key ingredient is your voice. Your voice is a crucial part of your author brand. How you sound is a crucial part of your author brand. And all these ingredients, right, these key ingredients are what encompasses who you are as an author. And because of your unique author brand, it's that uniqueness that allows you to stand out in the crowd. People will recognize you and notice you for who you are and your writing style and your speaking style. And that, again, allows you to stand out. I mean, think about it from a music standpoint. When you hear Eddie Van Halen, or you hear David Gilmour play guitar, or those are the two that just come to mind real quickly. But the reason why I say that is because when you hear that tone, when you hear that expression, Jimi Hendrix, right? When you hear the way these artists play their instrument, you know it's them. Even with singers, when you hear a certain singer, that voice is so recognizable because that is their uniqueness, and that allows them to stand out. And when you're creating your audiobook and narrating your own audiobook, it's the same thing. That uniqueness of yours is what allows you to stand out in the crowd, and people will find you and people will discover you. And again, the audiobook world, it continues to grow and expand at an exponential rate, and you need to be in that market. So I mentioned earlier about marketing strategy. Again, having an audiobook is a huge plus and really is the next step to take your book to that next level. Getting it out there in the audiobook world will expand you to an audience that may not have even discovered who you are. Maybe they don't even know about you being an author, yet you put that audiobook out there, they're going to find you. They're going to listen. They're going to go, wow, what a great story. That really resonated with me. Or what a great coaching program. I want to work with that person, which is a great calling card, not only with your physical book, or your digital book, but of course, your audiobook is another great asset to have as part of your arsenal of products that you offer as an author. So bringing your flavor, your unique style, your unique flavor is really, really crucial. So how do you do that? How can you be authentic? How can you be compelling? How can you keep your listener engaged and on the edge of their seat from opening credits to closing credits? How do you do that? Well, being your true authentic self, obviously, and bringing that author brand, which encompasses everything who you are, is a crucial factor. But how do you get yourself to be conversational, to bring out that authenticity? One of the tools and techniques that I teach the authors who go through my audiobook coaching program is knowing who you're speaking to, being focused on who is the person that you're telling your story to. And it doesn't matter what kind of book it is. Again, memoir, coaching program, whatever it is that you're sharing. All right. Who are you talking to? Now, you may say, oh, I'm a relationship coach, so I'm talking to people, who have gone through divorce, or my audience or my genre is weight loss. So I'm a weight loss coach and I help people lose weight, or I'm a nutritionist, or I'm a career coach and I help people climb their way up the corporate ladder. And that's great. Now to be tapped into what you do and what you're talking about, or even if you wrote a memoir, I went through a cancer journey, and I want to share my story of how I live my best life now because I experienced this trauma and I've come through with flying colors. That's a great inspirational story, and that's fantastic. But you're still being too general. And what I have the authors do in my program is you got to be specific. Be specific. Who is the one person that you're telling your story to? Who is that one person that you can sit down at a coffee shop and say, "Oh, I got this great story I want to share with you." And you're talking to that one person. Have somebody very specific in mind. Maybe it's your significant other. Maybe it's another family member. Maybe it's a friend, a best friend. Maybe it's another relative or a work buddy, whoever that person is. And I've even had people say, "Oh, the person I'm telling my story to is my grandma, because me and my grandma, when she was alive, we were really close." And even if that person isn't around anymore, you can still get a picture of that person and tape it up on your computer. Tape it up in the area that you've set up your recording space so you can look at them, because it'll evoke emotion and it'll put a smile on your face because you're telling your story to somebody that you care about, and you know that they care about you. And even if now I'm talking about somebody, of course, who may have not be around anymore, but even a friend or a relative, or like I say, your significant other, you're talking to that person. So put their picture up there and talk to them. Tell your story. You're narrating your book, of course, but again, it brings out more of your authentic self, and it brings out more of your conversational skills, really, to express yourself in a way that you want to express yourself. Because remember, you're telling your story in your own voice. And the way you tell your story is what makes you you. In other words, what makes you so unique, because no one can tell that story better than you. That's why I'm a big advocate of having authors narrate their own audiobook. Yeah, there's a lot of great narrators out there, and there's a lot of companies who push for having somebody narrate your audiobook. I say no. You narrate it, because you have what it takes to tell your story. And no matter how great that narrator is, and there are a lot of great narrators out there. I have a lot of friends who do a lot of voiceover work and narration and that kind of thing. But the thing is, it's their interpretation of your story. And that's the difference, because there are nuances, there are subtleties on how you express yourself that narrator is not going to be able to tap into. Especially if you've written a memoir or you're telling a personal story, they're not going to be able to express it really the way that you would express it, because you lived it. You've breathed it. You've experienced it. That's, again, it's your experience. Another narrator may not capture that. They will technically sound great, and they may bring what they feel is the right emotion for your story, but maybe it's not expressing it in the way that you would express it. And that really is important, because when you tell your story in your own voice, you're preserving the integrity of your author brand. That's preserving who you are. Remember, everything about you encompasses your author brand, and you are preserving that so that people know when they read your book, your voice is technically in in your written word. I mean, when I read a book, like, I have a voice in my mind while I'm reading through a book. Same thing with your book. And again, when you're doing your audiobook, they don't have to imagine a voice. They're actually hearing your voice tell your story. And that makes all the difference in the world, because that allows you to stand out in the crowd. So again, the recipe for audiobook greatness is being energetic, being emotional, and being consistent. Being consistent. And that also comes into play not only from the emotional aspect of it, though the emotion and the energy and what you bring to the table, those intangibles, really, that's the secret sauce to creating a great audiobook, because that allows your true personality and authenticity come out and really shine. If you don't have that energy and you don't have that emotion and it's very dry, it's going to sound monotone and it's not going to have any personality to it. And you don't want to not have your personality into your audiobook, because again, that's what allows you to stand out in the crowd. But you need to be consistent about it, right? The energy has to be consistent. The other thing about consistency is about the practical aspect. Mic placement and mic levels. That has to be consistent. Also, your health. That's really key. That's a key factor. A lot of people don't think about that. They just think, I'll just go in there and narrate. Well, what if your voice is not sounding so great? What if you're not feeling well? What if you're not drinking enough water? You got to keep yourself hydrated. That's a really key component. So make sure that you're healthy and that you feel good, because that's going to get you to do the best delivery when you are narrating your audiobook. And there's also awareness. And I want to talk a little bit more about awareness. We do have to take our second break, but I want to talk about awareness, because that is another crucial ingredient as part of the recipe to audiobook greatness. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I am Robert A. Lane. We're going to get into, again, awareness is our next facet of that ingredient that creates a fabulous recipe for audiobook greatness. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant. Like, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Robert A. Lane. And we are talking about the recipe for audiobook greatness. And we're going to dive into awareness and how that applies to creating a great audiobook. Before we jump into that, a couple of things. First of all, if you are a nonfiction author and you've written a book, maybe you've written a book that you published a few years ago, and you've been considering turning it into an audiobook, which is a great thing because you can resurrect that book, bring it back to life, and put it out there again and do a whole relaunch of your book now as an audiobook, where people will not only be able to discover your audiobook, but then discover your book in the other formats that you have it in. So it's a great thing. Or maybe you are in the process of writing your book. You should consider releasing it as an audiobook as well. Or maybe you just released your book and you had a great launch party and the book is out there. Now it's time to take it to the next level and turn it into an audiobook. So if you have any thoughts about doing that, I'd love to speak with you and talk with you about your book, about what you plan to do, and how I can help you create an awesome audiobook in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. And really, there's one simple step that you need to do, and that's just to book a call. Book a call with me. You'll talk with me directly, and we'll talk about your book and what your plans are, some marketing strategies, and then I'll give you, of course, details on the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. And you can have your book recorded, narrated, and uploaded for publication by the end of the 6-week program. It's that simple. But let's have a conversation first, because I do talk with every author first before enrolling anybody into the program, because I want to make sure that you resonate with me and then I resonate with you, because we're going to be working together to help you create an awesome audiobook. So go ahead and book your call. Again, the link is on my website as well. There's plenty of buttons where it says book a call, but you can also, we have a graphic on the screen for those of you who are watching the podcast, the video portion of it. And for those of you who are just hearing the audio only, that link, again, all my links are bit.ly, just to make it easy, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. All right, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That's the link. All right. And I guess I should talk about the freebie, right? Let's throw that in there too. I do have an audiobook narration reference guide that you can download for free. And again, it's on my website at robertlanecoaching.com as well. And we do have a graphic on the screen that you can check out. And then it's another bit.ly link, which is bit.ly/narration reference guide. So pick yourself up a copy of that. Just wanted to share that with you. I don't want to forget these things, because sometimes I just get into this, what I'm talking about, and I forget to share this with you, and I don't want to forget. All right, so we're talking about the recipe for audiobook awesomeness, for audiobook greatness, and awareness is really key. So that's part of your recipe. That is an ingredient, because being aware of your surroundings, for starters, is really important. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast about some of the audiobook kitchen tools, right? Setting up your own recording space and the actual space that you're in. Being aware of your surroundings is crucial, because as I mentioned earlier, if it's a very echoey room and it sounds like you're in a big cathedral hall or a bathroom, that's not such a great place to set up, all right? So just be aware of that. The other things to be aware of are people in your home. If you are setting up your recording space in your home, in your home office, or wherever you decide to set up, and it's comfortable and it's like, yeah, this is where we want to do it, but there may be other people in your house, remember, you're holding yourself accountable, because accountability is another key ingredient, right? That's part of the recipe. So you have you reserved specific times that you're going to work on your audiobook, all right? Excuse me. So you have these times, and you're going to hold yourself accountable. Well, let other people know that you're working on your audiobook. So let's say you're doing it in the evening, and you're going to record from maybe 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., all right? 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Then you're going to record your audiobook. You tell these people, whoever's in your home, hey, don't disturb me. I'm in my space. I'm going to work on my audiobook. All right. I don't want to be disturbed. So let them know. Let them be aware. That's part of awareness. Let them be aware of what you're going to be doing and that you need them to be quiet so that you can do what you need to do. All right. The other thing when it comes to awareness, about being aware of your surroundings, is as you're recording your audiobook, if there is a sound that happens that you hear while you're recording, maybe it's something that happens outside, maybe a big truck drives by and rumbles and shakes the house. Well, that's going to get picked up by your microphone. Or if a plane flies by, or if the gardener's outside doing yard work, those things are going to be picked up by your microphone, and you don't want that. So just be aware of sounds that are happening around you. And if something happens, just pause, stop, wait for it to go by, and then continue on. The other thing that you need to be aware of, because this is, again, very important in regards to awareness, is aware of your own physical body. If your voice starts to sound tired and fatigued, if your energy starts to drop, if, again, your mouth is dry, because dry mouth creates a lot of mouth noise, and that's something that your listener's not going to want to listen to all the time. Be aware of that. And if you need to take a break, take a break. If you are making a lot of mistakes, a lot of times that is a factor of fatigue. So just step away, take a break, go outside, go for a little walk, change your environment, and then get back into it. And then you'll be fine, okay? You'll be fine. And maybe you need to really rest your body. So take a break, continue on the next day. And again, that's the beauty of having your own recording space, because now you're in control of your space and time of when you record. And if you're having a bad day, no problem. It's not like going to that recording studio and forcing yourself to do it because you've paid all this money for this recording time and you have that pressure. Well, you don't have that pressure anymore when you have your own recording space. All right. So that's what I wanted to mention about awareness. The one important ingredient recipe as you are in your audiobook kitchen stirring up some greatness is confidence. Confidence. This is where the whole mindset aspect comes into play. You got to believe in your voice. You got to love your voice. You got to love this wonderful sound that comes out of your body. Because again, that's part of who you are. That is part of your author brand. That is part of an identifying factor of who you are as a person, how you sound, how your voice sounds. So love your voice. I have yet to have an author come to me and say, oh, I want to record my audiobook, and that their voice was so horrible that I had to turn them away. That's never happened. And I've helped a ton of authors with their audiobooks, and I've never had that happen. And a lot of times it's just what you perceive your voice as. And trust me, I hear this all the time. I hate my voice. I don't like how I sound. I hear it all the time. But the truth is, that's a false belief. Crush that false belief, because you do have a great voice. You have exactly the tools right here in your voice box here. You have the tools to do a great audiobook. You really do. So another part of the recipe, an ingredient, is loving your voice and having a mindset of positivity. And that means confidence and believing in yourself and believing that you have what it takes to do the job, because you do have what it takes. Remember, no one can tell your story better than you. Nobody can, because it's your story. No one experienced that story that you're sharing, especially if it's a memoir. Nobody can express it better than you. So you have what it takes. So believe in yourself, believe in your voice. And again, as I mentioned, mindset is crucial. Mindset is important. Are you in the right frame of mind? Because you need to be before you hit that record button. What is the right frame of mind? That means you're in the now. You're in the present moment. You're not worrying about the past. You're not worrying about the future. You're not worrying about, oh, did I take out the trash before the trash guy's coming? Oh, no. You're focused and you're in your zone. You got to be in your zone. And being part of that part of being in your zone is confidence. And to build confidence, I have my clients who come in that I work with, these authors, write out affirmations. They really do make a difference. Write 10 affirmations about who you are, about you being an author, about your voice, about how you sound. I have a great voice. I love how I sound. No one can tell my story better than me. I am an awesome audiobook narrator. I am an awesome, if you wrote a book about coaching business that you have, I'm an awesome coach. My story is great because I can help other people. Whatever the affirmations are, write them down and say them, right? Say them over and over, and not just to say it, to hear yourself say it. The goal is for you to be able to feel it, feel that emotion. I am great at what I do. I love what I do. I'm an awesome author. I have a great story to tell. I love my voice. And say it until you feel it. You want that energy to feel it, because when you feel it, then your subconscious is going to believe it. And once your subconscious believes it, then you're changing the neurons in your brain. You're reprogramming yourself to believe in something positive, and you are purging out these negative thoughts that you may have about yourself. Oh, I hate my voice. No, you don't. No, that doesn't exist anymore. You love your voice now. And because you love your voice, you have confidence. And because you have confidence, you're bringing that energy and emotion into your audiobook narration. And that's how you do a great narration. And as you stir all this great stuff, all these ingredients in your audiobook kitchen, you are going to be creating something just that is so fantastic. Because again, you got that secret sauce. You're putting in your flavor. You're putting your unique stamp into what you're saying and what you're talking about in your audiobook. And that is such a great thing. Because remember, no one can replicate you. No one can replicate you. You are you. That is what makes you unique. One of the things that I say all the time is you are the CEO of you. You're the boss. You are the boss of your author brand because you are a brand. You are a business. You are an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter whether you wrote your book on nights and weekends and you have a day job. So what? You put the work in, you put the effort in, you created something fantastic and you've published it. So now you are an entrepreneur. You are an author. You're a professional. So embrace that. And if you are able to write for a living and make a living at it, that's fantastic. Oh, you got to embrace that. It's just like musicians, bands, artists. There's that small percentage who actually do it for a living. Or your actors, they do it for a living. Even musicians or even actors who may not be that small 1% of the super rich and famous. That doesn't matter. There are so many working actors, so many working musicians out there that are making a living in what they do. So if you can do that as a writer, man, that's fantastic. That is really fantastic. That's a great goal. You should be very proud of that. All right. So again, have confidence in yourself, love your voice. And again, as the CEO of you, you're the boss of you, make the decision to narrate your own audiobook and put it out there because people need to hear you tell your story. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We have one more quick break to take. Again, if you have any thoughts about turning your book into an audiobook, you can go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com and find out more about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. We'll be right back to summarize and wrap things up. Don't go away.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
We're back here on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane, and we're talking about the recipe for audiobook greatness, and shared a lot of things that are key ingredients to create an awesome audiobook. So let's just go over quickly what we discussed today. First of all, again, your number one core ingredient. That core ingredient for that recipe of audiobook greatness is always being tapped to that reason of why you wrote your book in the first place? What was the purpose? Why was it so important for you to write your book and to publish it for the world to read? And now that same purpose comes through when you do your narration. So always be tapped into that. And of course, we're talking about our audiobook kitchen tools, having a great microphone. Don't be cheap on that. Get something good. Great headphones. Absolutely. You got to have that. Use your computer. Don't use your phone or some cheapy type of recording device. You want to have the best quality that you can possibly put out there because, again, this is a representation of your author brand. So you can't skimp on that. That's really important. Also, have a marketing plan. Have something in place that you already know what you're going to do. It's like when you're creating this great meal, right? You're cooking up in the kitchen. You're making a great meal. Maybe it's a dessert or whatever. Well, how many people are going to be eating this meal? How many people are you feeding? What do you need to do? Are there any special things that you need to know about the people that you're going to be serving? Right? Have a marketing plan. That's the same thing with an audiobook. Having a plan of how you're going to promote your book, how you're going to continue to promote your audiobook, what are you going to use your audiobook for, how can you utilize your audiobook to help get you speaking gigs and do book signings and whatever else you need to do to promote yourself as an author and your author brand and your author business. So have that in place. The next part of the ingredients for creating a great recipe for audiobook greatness is you're putting on your flavor. Your unique style, your unique personality, your unique emotion and energy that, again, all that does exist in your written word, but boy, are you bringing that to life when you narrate your own audiobook. Yeah, bring it in, man. Bring it to the table. Bring everything that encompasses who you are because that is your author brand and that's what makes a great audiobook. And remember, know who you're talking to. Have somebody very specific in mind. So when you are narrating your audiobook, you're doing a great delivery because it's coming off very conversational and it's coming off 100% authentic. And being your true authentic self is the secret sauce because you do want to make sure that it's you. You're not trying to sound like somebody else. You're being you. And that is what's going to allow you to stand out in the crowd. Okay. And again, be aware. Awareness is key. Aware of your mic levels, aware of how you sound, aware of your surroundings. Are there noises or things that are happening around you where you may need to stop because it's going to get into your recording? Making people aware as you set up your own recording space in your own home or home office or wherever you are comfortable in. And remember, being comfortable is key. Letting people know, hey, I'm recording it from this time to this time. Please don't disturb me. Remove all distractions while you're recording. Get that phone out of there. You don't want that distraction while you're recording your audiobook, okay? And then again, when it comes to awareness, be aware of your health. How do you feel? How does the voice feel? Are you fatigued? Is your body not feeling 100%? Are you making a lot of mistakes? And usually that is a result from fatigue. Again, being hydrated. Minimal amounts of mouth noise because you don't want that listener going, oh man, am I hearing throughout this entire audiobook? Boy, that's not going to sound good. So just be aware of these things, okay? And of course, really crucial is confidence. Loving your voice, believing your voice, being confident, having the right mindset, being in the right frame of mind before you hit that record button is crucial. So do that, all right? And again, if you need to build up confidence and belief in yourself, then write out affirmations and say them over and over until you feel it. Because when you feel it, then your subconscious will believe it. And then once your subconscious believes it, you're changing really the neurons in your brain to remove any of the negative beliefs and bringing up those positive beliefs. So say those things like, I am a great narrator. I love my voice. I sound fantastic. I'm an awesome author, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many things that you can tell yourself, but you got to say it until you feel it. When you feel it, you'll believe it. And that's what you need to do. All right. Now, if you are interested in turning your book into an audiobook, I would love to speak with you. Go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com. You'll see a couple of things. First of all, and it's all up there at the very top, there's a button to press that says book your call. And you can schedule a call with me, and that's the first step because I want to speak with you, find out about your book, and give you more details about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. All right. And the way it works, just to give you a quick bird's eye view, is I provide the equipment for you. So when I talk about getting high quality equipment, headphones, microphone, and all that, I provide it for you. That's part of the program, and it's yours to keep. And it's not cheapy stuff. I'm not talking about, cheapy $100 mics that you can buy on Amazon. I'm talking about stuff that's, it'll probably cost you at least $400 to get the equipment that I send you. And it's yours to keep. That's part of the program. All right. And then showing you how to set up your space and how to manage your audio files so you know exactly what you're doing and what they are and where you're storing them. And of course, helping you get set up so you can be published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And the next phase, of course, is really diving into the fine art of what it takes to do a great narration. And some of the tools that I've shared with you today and that are also in that free audiobook narration reference guide, which you can go to the website and grab a copy there. It's up there at the top of the website on the homepage. Grab your copy. It's for you. But those techniques, we're going to really do a deep dive into what it takes to do a great audiobook narration. Now, there's one part of this that is super, super important, and that is after you record your audiobook, it's got to be cleaned up. It's got to be edited to make sure that there's no extraneous sounds or anomalous mouth noises or anything that can be cleaned up. And that's what I do in my program. I've got 25 plus years experience as an audio editor, and that's what I do. So the coaching hat comes off, the audio editor hat goes on, and I go through your audiobook in real time with a fine-tooth comb to make sure it's clean and that it sounds good, but most importantly, that it meets the exact specifications for publication, because I've seen authors get rejected off of Audible because their audiobook did not meet their specs. So that's super important. And the other thing that I provide for you is that I will upload your audiobook to Audible, Amazon, and Apple for you. Because I will guarantee, and I can't guarantee, that your book will be published the first time without any issues. And by me uploading it for you, if there are any issues, I know what they are, I can fix them and make sure that everything is great. So book your call. Go to robertlanecoaching.com, schedule a call with me. It's my personal calendar that's up there. You will speak with me and you'll work with me directly. All right? Would love to work with you and help you turn your awesome nonfiction book into an audiobook that you narrate in your own voice. And finally, my friends, as I do with every broadcast, I give you this assignment. When you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger. Give them a compliment. Say hello. That small gesture of kindness can make the world of difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer. All right. We'll see you on the next edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Robert A. Lane. Again, the website is robertlanecoaching.com. I look forward to you booking that call and having a conversation with you. And in 6 weeks, you can have your audiobook published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Take care, my friends. Have a great week.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.